Welcome to Kind of Funny's The Mandalorian in review. Just like we did with Game of Thrones final season in review, we're going to be reviewing every episode in season 1 of The Mandalorian.
Is it?
All 8 of them.
Did you hide the Watto mask somewhere? Is that what you're laughing about?
No, Watto won't be making an appearance in this. It'd be silly.
It would be silly.
You didn't call him, or he's just busy? What's going on?
It's just that some people can't do it, and when I mean some people, I mean everybody but me. You know what I mean, Andy?
Well, you're really pulling down the fourth
you know
wall.
what? It's a brand new day here. It's the Mandalorian. All right, let's just put all the cards on the table. Clearly, this guy, Boba Fett's grandson. All right, we're all set on that. Good, locked and loaded. That's the show. Let's get on to the rest of it.
Greg Miller has cracked the case, ladies and gentlemen. Boba Fett's grandson. All right, I'm Tim Gettys. This is Andy Cortez. That's Kevin Coelho. We got Greg Miller here, great. And Nick Scarpino rounded out the table. Like I said, we're going to be reviewing every episode of The Mandalorian. This is going to be concurrently with Star Wars in review. We're going to continue that as well. This first week, since there are 2 episodes of Mandalorian, we're doing Mandalorian today, and then on Friday we'll be doing episode 2. Next week we will return with Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, and then episode 3 of The Mandalorian, and so forth till the end of the year. You can get the show live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, or you can watch it later on youtube.com/kindoffunny, roosterteeth.com, or search for Kind of Funny reviews on your favorite podcast service. You can get the show ad-free by going to patreon.com/kindoffunny, just like Al Tribesman did, our Patreon producer.
The Lone Hunter.
The Lone Hunter.
He's
just out there,
part of his
little
tribe.
bounty hunter.
Solo
you know
spin-off
what I mean?
movie over here.
His tribe is Al Solo's tribesman.
Yeah, he's hunting down that blue alien from the beginning.
To get the milk out of him, just turn him upside down and juice him.
Jesus.
No, I'm the one in this show.
Oh, the Mandalorian. Yeah, I blocked that guy out. I blocked that guy out of my brain because he was like the worst part of this episode.
This is the first day of the rest of our lives and a Disney Plus life.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a whole new future, bright future. They launched last night on pretty much every device known to mankind, unless you're in Europe, and then
you had to
you're
look
kind
at
of out of luck.
Yeah, you had to
for
go to
a
your
long
local
time.
circuit city to watch it.
Yeah.
And we all thought the
I
same.
don't know what that'll help at all. But
I just think like the banks of TVs. It was always so cool to watch one thing on 50 different TVs.
Yeah, that was cool.
You're like, it's bright.
We all
on
thought
that
the
one.
same thing. We all turned on the Disney Plus app and we all went McClunky. Right? Did you
I have no idea what that joke is from today. It was very
hell is
confusing. I saw it making the rounds, and I was
So,
like, "Is it something to
A
do
New
with
Hope
Greedo?"
got released today, right? Along with all the Star Wars movies.
Sure.
And there's been a new scene added, a new bit of dialogue added to the
Great.
Greedo and Han
oh,
scene.
yeah.
And
Great.
so it isn't just a
It
normal
still wasn't
shoot-off.
clear. It still wasn't
It isn't
clear.
just a normal shoot-off. Greedo now says McClunky, meaning something to the effect of like, I'm going to shoot you, and then
You're
and
about
then
to get shot.
You're about
was
to get
intense
shot,
work.
and then the shoot-off happens anyway. And apparently this was something that Lucas made for the 3D re-release of A New Hope that never got released.
Even
So now we have this
even
McClunky
dead,
line.
George Lucas is still
not dead.
fucking with the original Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah, it's
From
crazy.
the grave, this man will not stop fucking with my childhood.
Hey, all that aside, Star Wars in 4K, UHD,
So
That's awesome.
HDR for the first
I'm
fucking
very
time.
excited
All
to
of
watch that on my 10-year-old 1080p plasma.
God,
them. Yeah, you can do that. It's still a solid
Why
TV,
is
though.
why is Last Jedi not on there?
Because it's on Netflix still. Last Jedi will be making
Right.
its way
So
to
is-
Disney Plus December 26th.
What other Star Wars movies? Are on there?
It's Last
Solo's on
Jedi
there.
and Solo aren't on there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
They'll get 'em
So,
They only want the good
That's
Star
cool,
Wars
though.
movies on there.
It's awesome that they up-res them and like or did the 4K.
I mean, it's
transfers.
insane. That's never
really
been
cool.
released before. Not
Yeah.
on 4K,
Smart
UHD, or anything.
If you're
So,
gonna launch your own streaming service, might as well launch it with
Yeah.
that and extended endgame scenes.
if you go to the Last
Or
Jedi's
deleted scenes.
page, because it exists, you see when the movies are coming. And same thing for MCU. Like you can see when
nice.
Infinity War's coming
That's so
and
cool.
whatever. Yeah. So very, very cool stuff. Let's get right into it, baby. This is The Mandalorian. Chapter 1. Seems like they're not really naming these things anything fun. It's chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
It's very
They're out of
Fine.
ideas.
very
Fine.
it's very
yeah, they're out. Fuck them.
Yeah.
You know what I
it's
mean?
very indicative of what's to come probably. Unfortunately,
What does that mean?
I just feel like this was an interesting first episode for this show, and there wasn't a lot there.
Nick didn't like it. That's what I'm getting.
Released on November 12th, 2019. Directed by Dave Filoni. If you don't know Dave Filoni, Dave Filoni is an American animation director, voice actor, television writer, television producer, film director, blah, 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 blah. He's most known for his work on Avatar, The Last Airbender, and on the Star Wars Clone Wars film and television series. He was also the creator and executive producer of Star Wars Rebels for all 4 seasons. And for the first 2 seasons, he served as its supervising director. Filoni then accepted a promotion to oversee all of Lucasfilm animation projects. Then he returned as supervising director for season 4. This episode, like many of the episodes this season, written by Jon Favreau, who's also the showrunner of the entire show. This episode had a runtime of 39 minutes. Shorter than I expected.
Very brief.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
I'm fine with that.
I was happy with it.
Don't overstay your welcome. Get in there, get
Exactly.
in. Tell me.
Yeah.
Why give us filler when we don't need
Exactly,
Little
right?
may the
This
facts
guy
be
wears
with
a
you.
helmet.
Here. A
whole
live-action Star Wars TV series entered production in early 2009 with over 50 scripts written by 2012, but due to their complex content, they were deemed too expensive to produce. Its title was to have been Star Wars Underworld. In January 2013, following the 2012 sale of Lucasfilm to Disney, then president of the ABC television network spoke to the current status of the series, commenting that, "We love to do something with Lucasfilm. We're not sure what yet. We haven't even sat down with him. We're going to look at the live-action series. We're going to look at all of them and see what's right. We weren't able to discuss this with them until the acquisition closed. Just closed. It's definitely going to be part of the conversation." And then in June 2014, more details regarding the series were revealed, including that Boba Fett would have appeared. So then obviously this is like not that, but this kind of came from the ashes of that.
Grandson again.
Eventually. And then something that I thought was interesting is in the credits, a lot of people were noticing that Unreal Engine was credited. Unreal Engine is a game engine developed by Epic Games, is used to create the digital backgrounds. It makes the rendering of the visual effects faster than would normally be possible for a live-action series. And Favreau said the technology can be applied for a variety of challenges, or to a variety of challenges. So rather than using sketches on a whiteboard to map out scenes, the storyboarding was done on the game engine. Profile Studios provided the real-time camera tracking in 3D environments. I thought you'd like
pretty
this,
cool.
Andy.
Oh, yeah.
And this is all stuff that he kind of like was working on in Lion King.
Do you think that
to kind of perfect.
You'll be
that
in
speeder
my
scene
heart.
was using Unreal too? Just like
Probably.
that first speeder did not look great.
With the droid in it?
Yeah. When it came out, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the effects in this
What's
did
up?
not look great.
So now, before we get into, I don't even know what we're getting into.
How much did it
what do we
gross?
think about this? How much did it gross?
Yeah.
A lot of fucking money. Man.
2
Something to
billion
the tune of
subscriptions.
25 million subscriptions by 2022. Kev, what'd you think?
I liked it. I thought it was cool. More Star Wars can doesn't necessarily mean good Star Wars, but I felt like overall the tone was cool. Pedro Pascal's dope. Just everything when he talks, it's like, oh yeah, keep talking, keep saying stuff.
Yeah. You got a nice way of talking.
Yeah.
He's the Mandalorian.
Also, the action I thought was really cool. Seeing an IG unit like out there
Yeah.
fucking
Is he?
cleaning up
Pedro Pascal.
was pretty interesting. I wonder if there's any consequences for killing another bounty hunter. Seems like there might be if you're in a guild.
Yeah.
But we'll find out.
Shout out to Taika who voiced that IG unit. That was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Real dope.
Wait,
So-
but it was that IG-88?
No, it was IG-11.
IG-11.
So that's not. I don't know if that's Taika. Wait,
was
That
Taika.
was Taika?
Yeah.
No,
I thought he
yeah.
was going to be in the show the whole time.
He's credited.
No.
I'm sure he'll do another voice somewhere else. Maybe,
mean,
but he's
IG-11
directing.
That
it,
might
so
be
okay.
what
guess
Well,
all
the
units-
droid that you were talking about the bounty droid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in the promotional materials. I'm
Yeah.
sure there's another model of
there's
him
gonna be
that'll
more.
show up.
Okay.
IG-12.
Similar, if you watch Terminator in review, right? Every Arnold Schwarzenegger isn't the same Terminator, same model, not the same Terminator.
I was on that.
Not all Terminators are Arnold Schwarzenegger, but all
Dun, dun,
Arnold
dun,
Schwarzeneggers
dun,
are
dun. Ooh!
You fucking nailed it today.
Because it was Terminator, then with a Star Wars character.
Yeah. I mean, if they come back, I think it's going to be this one coming back. I don't think it's
You think they're going to repair this one? He's going to be like, you
His
shot me in the
brain got
fucking
blown up,
head.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
this one's gone.
I mean, always dead. I don't think
But-
another
but-
IG-11 is going to come. That's-
No, but I'm sure it'll be another IG unit because when he
Maybe.
got there, he was just like, "Oh, great." He
He
has
was
that-
awesome.
He has that throwaway line where he's like, "Oh shit, a fucking IG unit or whatever." Like a
Yeah, there
it's
were
some- whatever that droid is, a bounty unit. and
Also,
he's like,
there were
"I'm
just
sure
a
they've
lot
got
of
more them.
articles leading up to this saying that Taika was his role was a lot larger than what we had assumed.
As someone who
Yeah,
knows
but-
nothing about this, the only promotional material I've seen is what is that the MMA fighter woman from the movies we used to
Yeah,
watch too?
Gina
She's
Carano.
got a gun. It's
From the
got
movies we used to
Mandalorian.
watch. Fast and
and then
Furious.
it's-
Fast and Furious,
then
you
it's
fucking
got
heathen.
then it's
R.I.P.
got the droid.
R.I.P.
The droid is definitely back. All right, he's gonna be back.
Yeah.
I will bet
I
everyone
know.
at this table
I
a
think he
cool
might be,
5
but-
spot. All right, you want to bet $5?
No.
Do it,
man.
do it.
Coward!
Do it.
Why don't you want to have
Bet
fun
500,
ever?
you coward.
Bet 500, you coward!
I think we're gonna get more IG units, and I think they're all gonna have the same voice, just throughout.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Nick.
Why do you have a dollar, a loose dollar? in your
$2.
pocket?
I can't take the other one off. It's
Let me try.
two.
Let me try. Let me try.
You want to do it?
Let me try.
Feather it out. Feather.
Oh, I love fresh money from the bank.
you
You know what I
smell it.
mean?
Whoa.
Andy, what if I
was
kept
great.
doing it and I kept bringing out more dollars? That's what I dream of. If video games, you find the glitch. What if I find the glitch in life for infinite money? And then
Same
it's-
serial
Cool.
code.
Can I
It
be your
wouldn't
friend?
work.
That'd be great.
So, Nick,
Yeah.
expand on your thoughts.
My worry with the show is that it's going to do for Star Wars what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did for Marvel, which is to say not much. The episode started off really, really slowly. And then by the end of it, I was like, okay, I'm starting to get into this. And then it ended. So like, I think the last 10 minutes were actually pretty fascinating, but the beginning of it with that blue guy, I was like, this is TV, and that's not good. I do not want Star Wars TV. I want Star Wars to be movies, and every episode should be treated as such. I also did myself a grave disservice by watching the latest episode of Watchmen right before I watched this. And Watchmen is a show that immediately gets you into this world that is completely complex and fascinating, and you're like, what's going on here? There's mysteries. This one starts with very, very, very generic action. I don't think the effects look good at all. I think that a lot of the ships needed like 5 more passes of shadows and ambient occlusion on them because they stick out like a sore thumb. And for the most part, the first 20 minutes of this movie is just Pedro Pascal walking around random streets in the cool outfit, which the more you see it, the less cool it gets. So I don't know. I think the episode for me started and I was like, oh no, I am not liking this. By the end of it, I'm like, all right, I'm excited for episode 2 to see where this goes because I think the IG drone was awesome. That whole part was cool, and then obviously the reveal at the end, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm fascinated by this now. But
50 years is a fucking baby.
Yeah.
Blow my brains out.
Yeah,
You know
right.
what I mean?
You think the mind's developed, right? He's just
No way.
physically
Still
a
like,
baby.
goo goo gaga. You
But
know,
like-
he's not, he doesn't,
No way.
He doesn't even know how to talk.
Then why would
Hard. No, not a goddamn chance.
Definitive.
I'm just saying, he sucks.
the stuff where he goes and gets the like where he walks over and he gets the thing gilded for him or like I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
what is this? This is weird. Why
It's
is she wearing a mask?
Special
I
man.
don't
I
like
don't
that
know
he's
about
always wearing the helmet.
I don't like that either.
That's my big.
Oh,
That's a big issue for me because you can't really connect with the character. And then I was like, all right, it's fine. Maybe he'll take it off later, or maybe he won't, whatever. I would prefer it if he took it off because I like Pedro Pascal and I think he's a great actor, and it's a shame that you're hiding him behind this mask. But then we get to the scene where he's like, I got to look down there, and he takes out his monocle or his thing,
yeah.
and
And
kind of like puts it, and he can't figure out where it is, and then he puts it up again, and it's in the middle of his forehead.
Yeah,
and I'm like, what is the point of this mask? Does it not have this technology built into the mask? Like, why do you need other shit?
Yeah, that would be really
What
cool.
does
if
the
he
mask
just-
do? Anyway, I don't know.
What'd you think, Greg?
I enjoyed it. I wasn't creaming my jeans like everybody else seems to be on the internet. Like, but I had fun with it. Like, I didn't mind it being slower and different in the start. I like the idea of not knowing what this is going to be and legitimately knowing nothing about it. Like, I've done no research. I really didn't know. When I started, I was like, what? Before, like, the Empire's Fallen, I didn't really understand what timeline necessarily.
But even
where I
now,
was.
it's like, when are we? Like,
We're
has
between
it-
3 and 4, right? No,
No.
where are we?
This is
Oh no, I'm
Alpha
sorry.
Jedi.
Stop. I'm sorry. We're
Six.
between
6
6
and
and 7. I did know that.
Yeah.
My apologies. I
Is
did
that
know
right though? Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I
I
knew
mean-
the first order hasn't come around yet, right? But that's where we're
Yeah.
at. Okay, cool. I knew that. That wasn't a mistake or a Gregism. Getting in there and not knowing any of that and having it slowly drip fed to me, I enjoyed, and I did enjoy that it was smaller. I like that it's a character piece. I like that it was very like gunk, anchored to him. Like I did enjoy the Brian Posehn driving him over there. We get on the ship. The blue guy won't shut up. He's just there. I liked sitting in that awkward spot of like, what is happening? What's about to go down?
I just think the beginning of it needed to really, I think a lot of the money needed to go right into the beginning of it, and it didn't. It just, I was like, this is not good. The bar scene where he walks in, it just all screamed like bad
Expanded universe.
network TV. And I'm like, oh, this is like all of my fears coming to fruition with Disney acquiring Star Wars, is that they're just going to now churn out the stuff that is a solid B, maybe B- in material and like or in rating, and like I don't want that. I want Star Wars to be a AAA thing, and seeing Star Wars on the level of something like Firefly but without the actually fascinating characters is not good for me.
Do you think you're gonna, when this is all said and done and we step back, you'll have a different perspective on the opening?
I mean, it'll
Because even by the end of the episode, I was with you of like, this is slow. Okay, I like where we're going, and then getting a little bit more to where we do have I thought him getting the suit of armor or what the one armor piece made was cool. And I'm like, I don't understand this, but I get this is a big deal. I get this is a big deal for him and his culture.
I mean, I'll continue to watch them because, like I said, by the end of the episode, I was like, okay, this is cool.
But we have a show to do,
They
so.
put a lot of they put a lot of effort into the IG drone, and I think that scene was well thought out, and that looked good. And I liked how he moved. I like that he was just
That was
he has all
awesome.
the
He
rotating
moved
parts
so
and
yeah.
stuff.
Oh, so great.
Very, very cool. And he kept trying to blow himself up. And I'm like, oh,
That
okay,
was
we're getting
really
some
funny.
witty back and forth. And I'm like, oh, this is
That's
gonna
where
be
it
cool.
felt like Star
It's
Wars.
gonna
Yeah.
be the Mandalorian and his pet drone, the IG-11, right? And then blows his brain out of the air. Like, oh no, he's just by himself. So we'll see what they do with it. But I will be very interested to see if they can make this a sympathetic character with where he has to keep wearing the helmet though. Because Pedro Pascal is a really, really, really good actor, but I am just not connecting with this character yet.
Well, I think that's kind of the point. I think he is shrouded in mystery. We don't really know all about him. He is wearing this mask, and that does separate us from who he can maybe be or whatever. But I think part of it is we saw him.
The flashbacks.
We saw some of the flashbacks, yeah, and there's obviously something deeper happening there. But then also, like, even though I didn't really love the scene, but him learning how to ride that fucking animal, it's like, oh, he's trying to. Okay, this is where they're kind of making him more of a person that we can maybe connect with, who's struggling with this thing.
It was
and he finally overcomes it. I didn't think it was very good, but whatever.
It was the same way with.
You didn't think what was very good?
That part. There's that whole
The scene in general, yeah, 100% with you.
I feel
I've
like-
spoken.
Yeah.
And again,
Well,
I like Nick
just-
Nolte's character. I like the little dude. But I just thought that I'm like, this is a throwaway scene to just basically get some character exposition here. But then he's like, yeah, you can't take a speeder up there. It's rocky terrain. I'm like, what about the starship that I just landed in?
Right.
Could I take that
Yeah.
up there?
Yeah.
That thing that can go fucking intergalactic. Can I take that up there, or do I have to ride this fucking
the
bog
same
door,
thing, yeah.
whatever the thing is? And that thing didn't look very good either. When they started riding him across the train, I was like, oh
Yeah.
my god, this looks so bad.
I felt like there were two like scenes where it's like it did feel very like network TV, which was the blue guy. They should have had way less of him. Like him talking the whole time, I thought was annoying and not like well written. And also the scene where he's like he has that guy teach him how to ride that weird animal thing.
Yeah.
That felt too fast. Like it felt for a
Like
show
they needed
that
There
has
was
as much
10
time as
minutes.
they want.
Yeah.
And there was also nothing for him to overcome. Like
Exactly.
He didn't like harken back to something in order to overcome this challenge. It was just like, let me touch it like I'm touching the raptor's head and fucking.
But the
But
one
that
thing that
being
I'm
said-
okay with that is that when you have that in context of the rest of the episode, I liked seeing him where he's not just there is mystery about him, like not just because he's behind a mask, but it's like you see him kind of be a badass, you see him kind of be like a sympathetic person, you see him in like different frames of mind, and I think that's
When his
cool.
arm got bit, right? Like when it seemed like, holy fuck, is he about to like really get fucked up here? He doesn't seem Superman. He doesn't seem invulnerable.
Yeah,
Why didn't he
and I
pull
feel
one
like
of his
the
blasters
episode
out?
presented a lot
That'll
of
happen
really
so
good,
fast.
like a premise that
guess.
I'm interested in, especially with the end reveal. It's just like, oh shit, like obviously this guy's probably force sensitive. Like that means a lot where we're
Why do you
at in
think-
the.
why do you
he's
think
like
he's force
Yoda, dude? You know what I mean?
Oh,
The
you
little-
mean
the little
you
baby.
mean the baby's force
Yeah, yeah,
sensitive.
yeah.
Sorry, I thought you meant
Not
Mandalorian.
Pedro Pascal.
And it's just, I just feel like I think this first episode did a very good job of being ridiculously Star Wars and kind of like presenting a lot of really interesting questions of things that I'm like, oh, I want to know what's happening next in a way that like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I'm like, I don't give a fuck about the direction that they're going after watching episode 1. With this, I'm like, I can't wait to see what's going on in episode 2. I want to know where they're going with it. And I feel like they answered a lot of fun little things of like questions that we've had over 30 years of talking about Star Wars of like where do they pee? What's the like all this stuff? It's like let's focus on that. Let's focus on the more mundane kind of like these are just people living in a world. I didn't like the blue guy either. I thought they focused on him a little too much. But despite that, I liked how much they focus on just random ass motherfuckers that we might never see again. And it's like then he gets put in carbonite. I'm like, this is fucking cool.
Real quick about the blue guy, I really did like the bar scene though. I thought like that was a cool scene.
Yeah,
where,
I
like,
think
didn't.
it,
I
I
walk
think it
in
started
and
off
it's like, yeah.
extremely strong. I think the guy getting cut in the door, I was like,
That was
all
cool.
right, I'm
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
And then it did tail off. It did kind of trail off for me where I liked the episode. I didn't love it. I thought it was serviceable. There was some parts that I didn't enjoy. Again, we're gonna keep on harping on this blue guy, but yeah, he was very much like
Well, you know what it
early
felt like?
2000s,
Annoying.
late
Yeah.
90s sci-fi channel.
That guy is straight out of a like Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you're like,
Yeah,
oh, okay, that
definitely.
guy's a silly character, a silly side character in a Star Trek universe show, and that's kind of what this reminded me of, but not in a good way. Where I'm like, okay, we're watching Star Trek now, and Star Trek can be a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more television, but that's not what I want from Star Wars.
But what I do like is the conclusion of that, where like we must have spent like 10 minutes with him total. And at the end of the 10 minutes, he gets frozen in carbonite and sold, and the bounty gets like rewarded.
Paid, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool stuff. I mean, the fact that he has a mobile carbonite freezer unit and his plane that's like the size of a closet versus the other one that we saw in Empire that was a fucking gigantic room. Notwithstanding, that was a fun little moment, and you got that he was baiting him in. But it was also. It's weird because tonally you're supposed to like this character, but in the beginning you're like, okay, that's a really mean thing to do
Are
to
you?
someone.
I don't think
mean,
I feel like
the
it's-
main
it's-
character of the show.
But that doesn't mean he has to be a good
I'm
character.
interested in it more than I
Yeah,
care.
I'm
like
definitely
him.
interested. We do get hints of more of a humanity when he's talking to the
I think the
Forge
only
person.
thing he did that was they had that flashback, which is terrible, and I get it, but whatever. It was bad.
It
looked
was
fucking
not
terrible.
the
lot of
effects weren't
cross
great
dissolve.
there. Yeah.
A lot of
cross
cross dissolve.
The only thing he's done so far that made him sympathetic was that he shot IG-11, which is good because you're like, oh, this guy's
I
gonna kill
figured
his
he was
baby.
going to shoot him regardless because he wants all that metal. He's not going to split that as a prize.
But I think he was. That was a moment where you're like, okay, this character is going to be good. I just don't know if I don't know what they're going for with this. Is it supposed to be the Walter White character, where it's a character that does a bunch of bad things, but you still kind of like want to be on the ride with him, or is he going to be the sympathetic character that is the hero and is turning a leaf?
I feel like they did a good enough job for me of like setting up enough in 40 minutes where it's like we have 7 episodes left this season. You know, it's like all that stuff. We'll kind of see. My worry is that the things that they presented, they're not actually going to have satisfying answers to. But I kind of have faith that they're going to. Like, I feel like it's not just good enough. Like, I thought this was a great start to this story, and I feel like the effects and stuff definitely weren't up to the level that I was expecting. I don't think it's network TV though. I do think that it's
I think it's better than
elevated than
not
that.
much though.
But I think it is. I think it's a pretty sizable step, but it's not. The trailer made me think that we were getting like movie quality Star Wars. It's not that.
Right, yeah.
But it's not distracting. I feel like they made some wise choices, like just going straight in and being like, this is how the ships are going to look. This is how the characters, like aliens, are going to look. We're not trying to hide it. There's physical stuff and CG. Like, this is the world. We're not trying to like bask away from that.
I think there's a lot of good production elements in it. I do. I want to give a shout out to like when we get to the Werner Herzog scene. I'm like, first off, that's fucking awesome
So
that you got
fucking
him.
cool.
And the other, I forget the other actor's name that's in that scene. I think he was the bad guy in Venom. Am I crazy with that? It's not Riz Ahmed, is it?
Maybe.
No, I don't think so.
I forget who that guy
He
is.
looks
But
insanely familiar.
Yeah,
I've seen him in a bunch of stuff. Anyway, that whole scene where he opens it up and the stormtroopers are all their armor's like tinged.
Dude, that
because they've
scene
been like in
was
hiding.
great.
I was
Ooh,
like,
yeah.
this
I
is
wanna
pretty
know.
cool. That stuff was great. I'm just going to be very fascinated to see how they develop the actual Mandalorian character, because after a couple episodes of him being brooding and not saying anything, I'm going to get real bored real quick.
They're going to turn that corner.
They got to have him.
He's going to take
like
the
when he
helmet off.
started being
I don't
more
think he's
real.
gonna
Where he's
take
like,
it
shit,
off.
I got bounced out. Oh, that's what it is. What was he in?
Scroll up. I don't.
This is Omid.
Oh yeah.
God damn, what did I see him in?
He's in DuckTales.
Oh,
He's
there
a
you go,
voice in
that's it.
Rage too.
No,
Oh,
scroll
he's
up,
in
scroll up.
Shameless. That's where I recognize him from.
We'll look it up later.
There's a lot of
but-
voices. Metro Exodus. Look at this guy.
Yeah, he's in one
Days
of the
Gone.
video games.
Ah.
Wow.
But that was cool, and I love the scene where they walk into the like Mandalorian like cave area, and there's like a
didn't like
whole
that.
bunch of little.
I
Mandalorians
didn't
and
like
stuff.
the Mandalorian kids running around with their armor on.
Why not?
I don't know.
Why?
That just sounded silly.
It took away the
Django
weird.
didn't have armor on all the time.
Yeah,
It took
Or Boba.
It took me away. It took a lot of the mystery out of it for me. Where
Yeah.
I want to think of, wherever there is a Mandalorian, there's not another one. Like,
Right, yeah, I
want
don't
them
wanna
to
see a
be-
little
I
city.
want them to be the mysterious sort of like being that we see on screen. Like, well, I don't know who this person is or where they come from or what their story is, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
And to see like a little civilization. I mean, not
See,
civilization.
I
There was like
disagree.
10 people, and I was like,
I disagree with that because I feel like they're hinting that they're going to give us like stories there and give us backstory and like into this world. Because it's like I don't want to just unless he's Boba Fett. It's weird that there's Boba Fett and then there's this guy. It's like why are there just anyone that wears this outfit is just going to be like this lone bounty hunter guy. It's like I like the idea that like maybe they're being raised for that or whatever it is. We'll see.
Now I'm
I just
wondering,
thought it
like,
was-
do I want this?
Yeah, I just thought it was very, very weird to have that scene between him and the forger or I don't know what you call the blacksmith, whatever it is, where they were both staring at each other, and it's just a lifeless helmet and a lifeless helmet. And like to the credit of the actors, they kind of got it across, but I'm like, this is fucking weird. Take your helmets off. Why would you go into your den and like keep your helmet on? That doesn't make any sense.
I thought that was a cool like Judge Dredd thing where it's like he is the helmet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the difference with Judge Dredd is that we can still see his face emote a little bit, and like Carl
Very, very
with
little,
the last Dredd, like he did such a good job, but he also wasn't the main character. Like he had the Olivia, I forget
You
her
think
last
Hershey
name.
was the main character?
She was there, and she was the one that you were like, oh, okay, this is the character that we're following along this
I
adventure.
feel like
and then he was just there.
that doesn't
as,
make her
like,
the main character. I
well,
think
she's
that
she's
Dredd.
one of the main characters. You could see her face the entire time. So
Sure.
that was where we got a lot of the humanity from. It's just. I'll say one of the disappointments of this is that they didn't release all of them at the same time, because I really felt like I think this series of all the series is going to not benefit from week to week rollout. I wish this was all one, because right at the end of that episode, I'm like, cool, I'm ready for another one. Do I really have to wait a week for this? This is not a good thing, because by episode 3, if we weren't doing this show, I'd be like, I'm not watching the show anymore.
Yeah, you have that option.
Honestly, I think that might be why they decided to do 2 episodes this week. You know, like
They needed to put all of them out at once.
I feel like
I don't agree.
This did a good enough job that I'm like, I'm excited to see the next episode, see where they go.
Yeah.
And like, I'm definitely I'm ready to give them more chances to see if like the story hooks me. Right now, it definitely has me interested. Hopefully by episode 3, we're gonna be like really hooked, because that's when the long wait starts, right? Or episode 2, I guess. It's where we now have to actually wait a week.
Yeah,
I agree with that. The shootout scene, everything
shootout
leading
scene
up
was
into the baby Yoda. What's the Yoda race, by the way?
we
We don't know.
Yeah.
Yodels.
So that's actually a big deal, because we don't
Huge
really
deal.
know that his race or anything from that background. So that's like kind of the first time
Lucas went out of his way to like retroactively delete any information.
There was like one trading card, right, of a female Yoda
Right.
that they
Yeah.
like, fucking
Yeah.
flipped out about into.
and
we don't say their name.
They burned it.
We do.
George Lucas is gonna smash the wall in a second. Stop.
If you say it, he's going to keep adding scenes to A New Hope. So just shut up.
And now Greedo holds up a picture
How?
of Holland's family and goes, no.
Oh, is this your nephew? You just shot the picture?
And really quick with the whole like not wanting to learn more about like their culture and stuff. Like I think that was just the wrong headspace to go into, because they've talked about their culture at length, and like other like I know it's like the Clone Wars and Rebels is not for everybody, but they have expanded a lot on Mandalore and the history of that planet. So them showing that in this show wasn't like like weird or anything. It was like I almost expected it, because that planet is like kind of important for like at least in the history of those shows. What's up?
Yeah, Dr. Star Wars, I have a question for you. Now that I have this Disney Plus on there, which Clone Wars cartoon do I need to watch?
There's
So
only one there.
there's
that's the one?
the movie, and then there's the show. Apparently, the movie is the first.
The movie's
three
just the first 3 episodes.
first 3 episodes, and then you watch the show. I will say season 1 is kind of hard to get through. It's very slow, but
Very
once
kid-like.
season 2 kicks in and there's like the whole bounty hunter storyline, like it really picks up and it's really fun.
Can I jump to season 2 or do I need to watch season 1?
I would say you could just jump to season 2, because I feel like episode 1 is or
You'll
season
live
1 is
that
like
life.
just very episodic, kind of
Gotcha.
like whatever. So
Okay.
yeah.
For a quick second, I thought you were just being ultra dork and calling lore of the Mandalorians the Mandalore. And I
No,
was like,
that's
you're a
awesome.
fucking
If you
idiot.
listen to the Mandalore.
God
that's great,
damn
that's
it!
great.
Is Boba Fett not a Mandalorian?
Django Fett is.
Boba's wearing the Mandalorian
Oh, right, of
armor.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's an
yeah.
unprogrammed
but,
clone.
But Django is, right? Someone
Yeah.
in the chat. Okay. Yeah. But also, if you were raised by a Mandalorian, don't like
If you're the-
that
if
still
you-
counts as a Mandalorian, right?
Yeah.
You're not from the clone planet.
I mean, I'm not.
right?
I didn't grow up in Italy, but still Italian.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a great point. That actually
Yeah.
works, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. I wonder if Boba's going to be in this. I kind of hope he's
He's
not.
dead. He got
We'll
eaten
see.
by the
Is he?
Sarlacc pit.
What, yeah,
Also,
what are
he'd
we
be like
standing
Right,
at? with-
they added a tongue to make sure.
Wouldn't he be like 60 years old now?
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe a little older.
People get older.
Yeah, but maybe Mandalorians
I'm
age like Yoda, where
Wait.
50 years is only like
Who
you're
is
still
the
Shit in
years
your
old?
pants, and he's a fucking
Boba.
little 50-year-old baby.
If
goo
this is
goo
right,
guy.
if this is right after Return, this was like maybe
5 years.
It's a
Yeah,
solid
so
point.
yeah,
It's a solid
Boba's like
point.
maybe 30.
That's a great call.
I forgot there was like, there's that 30-year span they can play with. So yeah, it could be the beginning.
Before we go on, let me tell you that this episode is brought to you by HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit, you can get easy seasonal recipes and pre-measured ingredients delivered right to your door. All you have to do is cook and enjoy. Tonight, Gia's about to make me some cherry sprinkled pork chops.
You know they have family size options. You know
Yeah,
what
they
I mean?
do. They got a ton
You
of
can have
options,
us
man.
over. You can have
I
us
could.
all over.
I could. HelloFresh makes cooking delicious meals at home a reality, regardless of your comfort in the kitchen. From step-by-step recipes to pre-measured ingredients, you'll have everything you need to get a wow-worthy dinner on the table in just about 30 minutes. You can break out of your dinner rut with HelloFresh's 20-plus seasonal chef-curated recipes each week. There's something for everyone, from family recipes that Kevin's talking about to calorie-smart and vegetarian, and fun menu series like Hall of Fame and Kraft Burgers. Oh, I want some of those Kraft Burgers. You can add extra meals to your weekly order, as well as yummy add-ons like garlic bread and cookie dough. What's your stance on garlic bread, Andy?
Oh my gosh, garlic bread
It's
is
strong.
it's strong. Kevin.
You ever get a little bit of marinara sauce?
the best.
You know,
It's the
Just
best.
dip it in there.
You can get 9 free meals with HelloFresh by going to HelloFresh.com/morning9 and using code morning9. That's 9 free meals with HelloFresh by going to HelloFresh.com/morning9 using code morning9. Next up, shout out to Escape the Invasion. you got to check out this game called Escape the Invasion. It's all about immersive experiences, and they just announced the launch of their new post-apocalyptic themed subscription box. Picture this scenario. You're in the middle of a post-apocalyptic world that has been ravaged by a deadly virus inflicted by aliens. If I had a nickel, Andy. Would you survive?
How much would you have?
I don't know. Probably like 25 cents. Cool. With Escape the Invasion, you can find out each month you'll receive a box of clues, physical items, and evidence that will get you closer to survival. It's up to you to piece it all together, solve the mystery, and save humanity. It's been called an escape room delivered to your door where Fallout meets Alien. It's a great way to get off your phones and start connecting with your friends and family. Or if you prefer to play solo, you can interact with the online community, swapping theories and helping each other out. Right now, just for you guys, you can go to escapetheinvasion.com/morning for 20% off your first box. That's escapetheinvasion.com/morning for 20% off your first box. escapetheinvasion.com/morning. See if you can survive the alien apocalypse. What you got for me, Kev?
Oh, nothing. I think you can do it, Tim. I think you can survive.
No, you don't.
Oh, I do.
No faith in
No,
you.
hey, guys. Tim's a fucking survivor.
I
You get him
definitely-
in there, he'll be eating rats. No problem. You know
I
what
don't
I
know
mean?
I'd eat a rat.
You
I don't know
definitely
that
eat a
I'd
rat. You're hungry enough,
eat
you'll eat a
whatever,
rat.
exactly. You'd eat whatever you have to
Little bit of
survive.
salt.
Right there, you know
This
what I
isn't
mean?
Gia's making him.
I'm gonna lay
you know,
down.
hello.
Lay down,
rat
just-
A
box.
little bit of mashed potatoes.
And also, shout out to Honeybook. It's what you've always dreamed of. You started your own business, Greg.
I did.
You have no boss. You
true.
are the boss. You are the CEO. Oh, my God. No one told you there would be so much admin work.
That's why I got Nick.
Here's a reality check. Running your business is hard, but Honeybook makes it easy. If you started your own business, you're your own boss, but along with being the CEO, you're also the accountant, marketing manager, creative director, executive assistant, and many more titles. We're way too familiar with this. Honeybook is an online business management tool that organizes your client communications, bookings, contracts, and invoices all in one place. It's perfect for freelancers, entrepreneurs, or small business owners that want to consolidate services they already use like QuickBooks, Google Suite, Excel, and MailChimp. With Honeybook, you can automate your busy work. They have easy-to-use templates for emails, proposals, brochures, and invoices. And right now, Honeybook is offering you guys 50% off when you visit honeybook.com/morning. Payment is flexible, and this promotion applies whether you pay monthly or annually. You can go to honeybook.com/morning for 50% off your first year. That's honeybook.com/morning. Back to it, Andy. Overall, what are your impressions of this?
I'm super excited for the rest of it. I'm super excited. I wasn't completely jazzed about this episode. If I were to put it at a number out of 10, I'd say 7.5 out of 10.
That's a
I
good
think
number.
I'm right
That's a good
there.
number. That's a
That's
good
fair.
number.
Yeah.
The moments that I did enjoy, I was very intrigued by the visuals. I thought there were some really cool shots. I thought some other shots were, some other scenes were shot not so great. In particular, the scene with Werner Herzog was kind of just weirdly done. I felt.
Really? I thought that scene. I thought
But
that
I
was
like
one
the
of
look.
those scenes
I love
looked
the
great.
I love the aesthetics
I
of
don't
it.
like
I like
Herzog
I like how
that
that
much.
was shot.
the set design was really really nice. But I thought that there was just some.
But even the doors opening and that first moment where you see all the stormtroopers,
That was awesome.
and they're all messy, and it's like, oh, this
What's
is
their
pretty rad.
story?
Yeah.
Like what's going on with the?
You're going to get 8 episodes in 2021 about them.
They're gonna be
in
their own
Disney
side
Plus.
story. Yeah, I'm super excited for whatever the future of this series can be, and obviously dropping that sort of big
Reveal.
the big reveal at the very very end. I hope every episode is like that because I love when TV shows do that. But I hate having to wait another week.
Do you
for
think
it.
the next episode starts out and he's just taking care of the baby and like he's
He's
kind of
just a
becoming
baby?
adoptive dad?
Sucking
Baby,
Letting it have some of the Mandalorian milk.
Get the milk somewhere, you know what I
Nick,
mean?
God, that little tongue thing at the end that you did.
yeah.
Yeah, like I said, when I watched the trailer, I was like, "This is going to be so freaking rad." And when I first started watching it, I was like, "Oh, this isn't exactly what I expected." And what you were talking about earlier, Nick, of like they should have put more money into the opening of this.
Yeah.
I feel like they kind of did it backwards, where they ended so strong. Like once IG-11 got introduced, I was like, "Oh,
That
man.
whole stuff was. I
I'm
was
so-
like,
But
oh,
here's
I
the
wish.
thing.
And
this
when we're
was the
talking about a
beginning of this.
40-minute episode,
Yeah.
that like it doesn't take too long to get to that stuff. So it's like I don't really hold it against it just because it didn't do what traditional things do of like opening with the bang. Because I feel like in context, this is opening with a bang of it being a 40-minute episode.
Yeah.
This wasn't 50 minutes. It wasn't an hour. I appreciated it. And
How much did you like the opening though? The new Star Wars thing with like all the helmets and stuff.
It's fine.
I like that a lot.
I like that a lot.
You're a crazy
I'll say what I
It looks
really
so
look
good.
Take off your
I mean,
hype hat. You've
here's
given
the-
up your hype hat. Andy,
No,
take away the hype hat. Take the hype
doesn't
hat.
even have
Andy,
music.
take the hype hat. Andy.
I'll say this: the closing credit artwork
It's
is
fantastic.
awesome.
That was really cool.
So that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying is like it's
really
so
cool.
weird how they paced this because like they're trying to set this character up as a badass, and the things that he does for the first 30 minutes, while cool, are kind of generic action hero stuff. Like the bar scene, like where he just like these guys come at him and they're all standing next to him, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna do something rad. Like he's gonna pull something out of his pocket, like a thermal detonator or something cool. He's gonna outsmart these guys. Nah, he just kind of like bounces one guy's head, and he's this tiny little dude compared to these other guys. You're like, I don't believe this. Then he does the lasso thing. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
The lasso thing's
Then the
fucking
thing
dope.
grabs onto his ship, and you're like, oh, he's gonna have to outsmart this thing. Nah, he just goes and shocks it, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, that was really lame.
There's nothing that he does in the first 30 minutes of this that makes me believe he is this extraordinary badass man, like this historic man, like from this historic
See, I'm
warrior
okay with
culture.
Can I float one thing is like that, if I can, as a
Yeah.
counterpoint to that? I liked all that. What I liked the most about this, and one of the things you were saying earlier that we got away from before I could comment on it is like, you know, he's a bad guy. Are we supposed to root for him kind of thing? I would argue, is he? He's a bounty hunter. Is Dog the bounty hunter, aside from the racism, a bad guy? You know what I mean? Like, he's out there doing jobs and doing things.
No, and I don't.
What's another
Yeah.
famous bounty hunter? Hey, bounty hunter is in his name. The racist piece of shit.
And I like the back and forth with him and Carl Weathers, right?
Yeah.
Where you
Sorry. Let me keep going on the point
Go
because
ahead.
I was going to get there. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right. Carl Weathers, of course. Shout out. But what I loved the most was the fact that he wasn't this god. That it was that he kind of fucked up. That he did simple stuff. That it was when Carl Weathers, he's like, "Can I get another job?" And Carl goes, "Well, this one pays $5,000." He's like, "That's barely enough for fuel." Like he's struggling, which is what I've never gotten about why people love Boba Fett. And again, I'm just a commenter who watches the movies and doesn't think too much about him.
What people like about Boba Fett is that he was smart. And then he outsmarted people. That's why I was expecting with this, right? When he sits down and goes, and Werner Herzog's like, "You're the best. Like you have the best reputation of all the bounty hunters." When a character tells you that, what they're telling the audience is like, "You're gonna see this dude do some crazy shit you've never seen him do before." And we didn't see that. Literally, Nick Nolte's character is like, the reason why I brought you here, like I chose to help you, is because you're a Mandalorian, and I believe you of all people can go in there and kill all these people. And I'm like, this is gonna be dope. But then he like randomly just jumps on the back of this thing and like rides it around.
I
I'm like,
really didn't
How
like
did
that
you not
either.
get shot about 1 billion times while that was happening? I just wish it was more clever. Like when you don't have budget, your writing has to be really, really, really clever.
They did
and
have
like,
budget though.
but like they don't have the kind of budget that they need to get the ambiance around where I believe this guy is this like gray character in this neutral like fucked up universe. Right now it feels like they're almost there, but that's the thing. Like when he walked into the scene with Carl Weathers, I was like, oh, this looks cool. And then he sits down and they have that great back and forth where I'm like, oh, these are kind of murky characters where you don't know if Carl Weathers is a good or bad guy. Maybe he doesn't give a shit about being good or bad
the
because
galaxy,
it's
man.
just about surviving,
making money, bro.
and making
Yeah.
money, and
Yeah.
and I do love that back and forth where he's like 5,000 credits. It's not enough to pay for my fuel. And you're like, all right, man, we'll pay for the fuel and stuff.
I have a question for Mr.
Yeah.
Scarpino, and I'm not even trying to light it up. I'm not even trying to light the fuse here, everybody. Who does Boba Fett outsmart? Doesn't he? Darth Vader's hands Han over, and then doesn't he get shot in the butt and fall in an anus?
He tracks them down because he figures out where the Millennium Falcon's going. Remember when they get lost in the trash? He's the one that tracks them.
But
They go off and he goes off
remember
and
in Revenge of the Sith where they showed him learn that trick from
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan?
Fuck, it all comes back to Obi.
It does.
well, there you go.
Damn,
We
Obi.
tried
I just
trilogy.
feel like
Damn,
No,
Obi.
but that's
I
cool.
just feel
Yeah,
like when you're a character that in the Star Wars universe that doesn't have force powers, you have to have something extraordinary about you for me to give a shit.
Yeah.
Because every single time I watch a Star Wars anything, and a lightsaber doesn't come out, I'm like, you better be a very, very fascinating character because you have to compete with someone who can literally lift shit up with their brain and throw it across the room. And so far, I'm just not seeing that in this. Like right now, when I watch this, I go, I kind of would rather just watch The Force Awakens again because that has the stuff that I really, really like, which is like better character development, unbelievable visuals, and lightsabers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree with you though that there were those big two moments where he just shocks the alien off
Those were
the ship,
supposed to be the moments where you go, this guy's great at what he
where
does.
he could have,
but it looked clumsy.
There were a lot of like other
and he can't move
creative-
that well in the armor.
There were
which
some
is not
creative
good.
ways that he could have gone around that to where you're watching that as a viewer and going like, fuck, that's really cool and clever for not only this character to do this, but for a writer to think of that moment. Like I think of I think of I think of Walter White with the fucking bell on the wheelchair
Bing, bing,
blowing
bing,
like that shit. It like blows my mind that somebody
he thought to do
concepted that in
Yeah.
writing. But when you just like, oh, let me grab this stick.
Well, like a perfect
I
example
think it would
was
have been cooler if he like hung off and like shot it like perfectly, so it just died like immediately. You know,
Like maybe move the thrusters down and burn it.
I
or
like that
don't
he
know.
was just I'm just gonna do this
Yeah.
myself, and he went out and just fucking
work
Stab.
smarter, not harder. That's
yeah,
what I
but
really
what's the
liked it.
point of it? You know what I mean? Like that scene had no point to it. Like
I feel like
this
it
was
did.
just
I feel
a
like
use.
it's-
This was
the
just
point
a
was
useless complication that he easily overcame, and doesn't really give me anything character-wise.
I think
But
I think the point of it was to show, hey, he's a badass. Check this guy
Normal
out. Like,
people
but
are
he
going to
doesn't
freak
give a
out at this.
shit.
He doesn't
Yeah.
care about this.
But
He's
it
not going to
didn't-
engage in
Cool as a
banter.
But it didn't work for me like that, right?
Yeah, same
And
here.
then another thing that I was like, when the blue guy came downstairs, I was like, oh, okay, he's letting him go down there, right? I thought it was gonna be something cool where the guy's like, oh, here's the escape pod, and he gets in and it closes, and then you see Pedro Pascal like come over and hit the button, and that's what freezes him. No, he just goes,
That'd
hey,
be cool,
and then he just pulls him over and pushes him in the thing, and then like fake bad gas comes out, and it's like, what the fuck? Why
Also,
is any of this happening?
interesting
it's bad
moment-
gas! Don't freak!
the moments before that, we did get the like he finds his weapons and then just closes.
Yeah,
them.
Yeah,
I
what
didn't
the
know
fuck
that.
was- why
I
would
didn't know
he
that
pull
was
a
happening.
gun out?
Big one, yeah. that
If
was
I
weird.
found that, I'd be like, oh, okay, I'm going to take this out and shoot the guy. Now I have his ship, and I'm ready to rock and roll. But no, he's like, oh, Paul, just close those down. Okay.
Blue guy's
Fine.
not that smart.
Also,
That's
we
why
don't
he's
see
gotta
him
be-
use any of those weapons.
I imagine
We
the
do
blue
see him
guy is
use-
just like, all right, this guy will overpower me.
Well, we don't know because he's frozen in carbonite now forever. But I do love that. To say something positive about the style of how he fights. I like the gunslinger Wild West
Really
style.
cool.
Yeah,
that stuff's
really
working
cool.
for me. So I want to
Yeah.
I really hope they lean more into that, where he does have this weird cattle prod on the back of his thing. I'm like, throw that away. Just use your badass blaster.
But that's his
and get a
big-ass
jetpack
rifle.
for Christ's sake. Is
That's
it a rifle?
sniper-
Yeah,
Yeah.
really helped out. Just looking, he's got no situational awareness. He's looking
I love
400
that.
meters away. There's a giant thing right now. Oh fuck!
I think there's one thing that I hope that they do bring to this, and we've seen from some of the promotional material, is I feel like a lot
That
of
MMA
these,
fighter from that one movie.
I feel like a lot of these Star Wars movies kind of
Carano.
benefit from a cool cast, like a little group that they surround themselves with. And I immediately think of Cowboy Bebop. Like, who is his...
Or Firefly.
Or Firefly, absolutely.
Yeah.
Who is this cast going to be? Who is this group of characters that are going to kind of give each other shit at first, Guardians of the Galaxy, and then they eventually become friends or whatever? I want to see, the friendly, cool type, and we have the old curmudgeon over here. Like, what are these...
What's his rogues gallery?
Will we
gonna
get
be?
to see somebody else for him to play off of regularly enough instead of this IG-11 droid that he just shoots
Well,
immediately? you know?
that the other droid's gonna show up and be like, "Have you seen my twin brother? I've got a bounty for you to help me find the guy who killed my brother." He's like,
like,
"Fuck!
nope,
I have
it
no
was
idea.
Haven't seen it.
it was this lizard baby. It's 50 years old."
I loved IG-11. I loved every line of dialogue.
Dude,
I loved
he
him
was
constantly
so
almost
funny.
self-destructing, and I
Yeah.
loved the action scene. Like, was fun and cool, and I like how it ended with the Mandalorian grabbing the fucking laser thing. It just like that
that
to
was
me
cool,
felt like
too.
it had a good build where he didn't feel like Superman. It was just kind of like
I gotta get this done.
yeah, gotta get this done. I enjoyed that, and the reveal of the Yoda thing at the end is just like that's up to me where I'm like I would have never thought about that. Like what the fuck? That's just what are the consequences of this?
I do really enjoy the concept of IG. I just feel like that the way the IG droids look is so dated to how the other technology looks in the show. Like I think immediately I think of from Rogue One, tall fucker.
K2SO.
Yeah, K2SO. And I was hoping there'd be more of a droid of that sort of aesthetic.
I normally.
yeah.
This is obviously like
I like the
a nostalgia touch.
Did
but
we
the-
see Bosk? Was that Bosk in the?
It looked
in
like
the
was a
those
boss
boss
like-
looking.
So like
alien.
they updated
Racist.
that vibe or whatever, and like that.
Oh,
Obviously
so you don't care about the design. You want the design just to be
the
like,
boss.
I got
like
it.
to
Yeah,
him.
I got it.
I mean, yeah, I guess so. I just feel like when those characters were created, it was done on obviously such a low budget.
Yeah.
And I don't know
Is that dog the bounty hunter?
I don't know if any other robots really look like that anymore in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah,
I
but this
loved
was
it because
like-
I loved the way that they had him move.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
stuff.
it
It's
was
like
so
it felt
cool
like the
to-
design they finally like utilized.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
type of,
I guess
Yeah,
just
yeah,
the
yeah.
tin can head just threw it off.
I
Like,
yeah,
think
yeah.
that's just a subjective thing.
The
I love
eyes
it.
were weird, but I loved to see him actually come alive
You
and
love to
be
see
a bounty hunter. You know, like actually see him killing. Like, because it's like for the longest time we know there are killer droids out there. We haven't seen too many of them, and to see him be so effective, like it was cool when in the middle of everything, just kind of walking around, you know.
And I love the dialogue too, and I love the like, I hate droids. It's just like there's just little things that are going to pay off later, and I love the references to things like the talking about the purge and things like that. It's like that's awesome. That it's like this is real. This is
when
canon.
they say the purge, is that Jedi's?
The Order 66 stuff, which is cool.
Cool.
Yeah, it's like this stuff all happened. Prequels, sequels. Well, I guess sequels haven't happened yet, but they're going to happen.
So you don't think the purge is some Mandalorian thing?
I think it's the Jedi thing.
Okay.
I thought it was a Mandalorian thing.
Because
Yeah.
that's one of those things.
I thought it was related to the flashbacks.
I really hope they continue on with that reveal at the end, and I hope they give us stuff that actually is relevant canon. Because that's the one thing I hope they don't do, which is they just give us a bunch of characters that don't mean anything in the greater Skywalker trilogy. I really hope there's some tie-ins that are really, really cool.
I don't necessarily. Yeah, I don't want that. I mean,
if we build this whole other world that all this stuff's happening, we know how it ends.
No, we don't.
We know the First Order comes. We
Well,
know that there's a whole other thing that's happening.
Even
outside.
now, we don't know what
none of this matters.
But we don't know.
But it matters to Mandalorian's story.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is I want it
different
to. Okay, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
There needs to be. They need to have. The thing that I didn't like about Shield, Agents of Shield, is that it didn't feel like it was.
Well, that wasn't included like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's why I need there to be elements that tie into the greater stories for me, or else this is going to feel very thin.
I like the idea that this is its own character piece. It's its own side shoot. I hope it doesn't come around and try to shoehorn itself into, I don't even know, Ray or Isaac Newton, whatever. Whatever.
I
don't want that, but I do want it to play into the greater
Isaac
life.
Isaacson. Who's Finn?
Oscar Isaac.
No, who's the other guy?
Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, okay.
Isaac Asimov.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't want it to be like, oh, this is a direct prequel to it, but like obviously they're introducing a Yoda character, so they're taking these chances, right? Like we haven't seen one of these yet, so those are all I'm saying is those are elements that to me go, okay, this is something that's going to be.
They're going there.
It's going to be. I don't know the way
World
to put it,
building?
but it's going to be
Consequential.
Yeah, like it's going to actually be something that's going to resonate forever in the Star Wars history and the Star Wars canon, right? And that makes me excited. I want to see more of those elements where we actually refer back to this show as something that's meaningful, as opposed to this being just ancillary content.
But this could be this could be a new creation of a new Jedi Order that is then unrelated to the Skywalker saga.
But it can't.
It can though.
But it can't.
Skywalker saga can end without them resolving the Jedi stuff.
But if
because
they
the
have,
Jedis are,
they're not. If they have a Jedi Order that springs up in this show,
yeah.
then it's not going to make sense.
Why?
I don't think they're going to play with Jedis at all in this. Maybe you'll see a random Jedi here and there.
I mean, I think that
because
like,
this is 30
Baby
years
Yoda
prior
thing,
to
I would
when
assume-
we've seen Skywalker go and be like, there are no Jedis left. I'm the last Jedi. He told us that in
Holy
movies.
shit, but that's
Yeah,
never
nobody
right.
know. These things are connected.
Well, what I'm saying is when you have that element,
Uh-huh.
if you were to introduce the other element, then it becomes confusing, befuddled, and murky. So this is
Unless they're totally
this is why when
separate
people
tracks.
talk about how it's difficult to have the Star Wars, like the greater Star Wars universe, be Marvel, which is always weird to me. Like this is what I'm starting to feel. Where I'm like, can they introduce Jedis in this? Because to me that feels totally wrong and not right.
I personally hope that this goes a different route, not the MCU route where all these things are connected. I'd like to see just individual stories that are kind of going good stories that are going their own route that don't necessarily have to tie back to Skywalkers or anything that we already know.
It's what I always argue about with comic books, right? Like, I don't think continuity is bad at its core, but it gets bad with these month-to-month books. If this is going to be we have a story to tell about the Mandalorian. Here is the 8 episodes, whatever it is. Here's the entire.
We already know this is season 2.
Okay, here's the Mandalorian
16
storyline
episodes.
we are starting, right? That's the story we want to tell. I don't care if it's good and it's interesting. It's awesome. I know that it's here in somewhere. There's all sorts of fucking Captain Phasma's polishing her helmet to get killed someday or whatever. That would never be killed. And like, I don't need it all to be locked in, tied together. I understand that I'm in the same fucking universe and it's gonna go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always a risk when you go with nostalgia like polls of like, oh, there's that thing that you already know. And when it works, it really fucking works, but it's really easy to mess it up. And
Yeah,
I
of
think
course.
that's going to be the
And that's why I
key
just
with
go.
the show.
Don't try to touch it. Don't try to bring it back.
And it's like I feel like the connecting is going to be Boba Fett. Is he in this? Is he him? Is there do they mention him at all? Like that's going to be the connective tissue that I feel is going to be the most difficult to navigate.
miss the Fett man.
See, I think that would be a
good or
huge
bad.
mistake to put Boba in this, because you're introducing a character that this character is a knockoff on, and you're going to expect us to still like this when we get the original. It's going to be weird. I don't think they're going to put Boba Fett in this at all. They might make mention to him a little bit here and there.
Yeah, what if
but-
he trained him or whatever? They were in the
I mean,
same-
maybe, but
same
like if Boba
Mandalorian
Fett
class.
shows up in this, the little kid in me is gonna go, "Why the fuck am I paying attention to the Mandalorian? What's going on with Boba Fett? Like Boba Fett's a cool character, way
Fett
cooler.
man.
The Fetters.
Yeah.
We just call him Boba Fetters. Played tennis.
A question that I had. They were talking
It's a terrible joke.
when he goes to the forge lady. She asks him a question. Did your
Who are you?
No, what was it? Like, do you guys know what I'm talking about at all?
No.
She was like, "Did your
Did you miss your emblem or something like that?
something like that? Like, did your emblem come in or
I
something?"
think it was the thing that she gave him was that shoulder pad thing that was supposed to be.
But
some-
even then, she was like once she was done, wasn't she like, "I'm sure it'll come soon."
I have no idea.
I think
Yeah.
there's an
I
obvious-
thought
that was
for
that
a
was
second I
cool-
thought she took that credit that he gave her, melted it down, and made the.
she did.
She did.
Yeah,
That's what
because
she
that
did.
that credit is a
Okay.
type of metal that is, I assume.
Yeah,
This
because
is the kind of metal
Mandalorian-
that goes from there being only a little bit of it to a giant
Yes.
shoulder pad.
in the
Yeah.
very, very
That makes
first,
sense.
so in the very, very first scene, they
Best
walk
star.
up to him and look at his helmet, and he's like, "Is that a whatever helmet or,
Yeah.
or metal that you have on your helmet?"
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
obvious that like the rest of his suit looks shitty. His helmet super pristine and like really clean looking.
Yeah.
So it's obvious that they're doing something with his armor. or
They also
whatever.
like sparked off of it, right? Like,
Yeah.
something touched it and it like.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, he like scraped on it, and it like What I liked was he gets shot in the armor, and for the first time in Star Wars history, the armor actually did its job.
Yeah.
And you're like, thank you.
There you
That's
fucking
nice
go.
to see. Why wear armor if blasters just go right through it? So that was kind of cool.
Barrett, before we wrap up here, what are your concise thoughts on this?
Concise.
I loved it. I had a really fun time with it. I went in expecting weird, slow, quiet-paced, Cowboy Bebop like show, and that is what I'm getting. That's the vibe I'm getting. I think it's going to be a slow build, and I'm really into that. Again, weirdly, comparing it to Cowboy Bebop, of the entire time when the characters come together in that show, it's like even they're kind of friendly to each other, but they're kind of all dicks to each other too, and there isn't this whole camaraderie or anything like that. You aren't supposed to think that they're good people. They are just bounty hunters, kind of just surviving in the kind of great like galaxy and stuff like that. And that's what I want from this show, and that's exactly what the first episode gave me. Like, yeah, the part that I least liked was the character at the beginning, the blue guy, but I liked the buildup of like, yeah, fuck, this guy's annoying. I hope the whole episode isn't about him and stuff. And then immediately, like, yeah, you're getting frozen in carbonite. Like, I'm turning you in. This is really, really fucking cool.
Being someone that has watched all of Clone Wars and Rebels, how do you think that so far this fares compared to those?
I think it's way too early to really compare it to those, because I think the reason this show doesn't seem to be trying to put itself into the grander story where those shows are. Like, Clone Wars is about Anakin and his Padawan Ahsoka and like all that stuff. Rebels is about another Jedi who survived Order 66 and is trying to like train other Jedi, and the build up and starting the rebellion and all that stuff. Like, they serve the kind of greater story, where this seems to be just a cool, like, small character piece about just this guy from this planet just trying to make a living, and I'm so fucking in for that. I'm really loving it. I'm excited for the rest of the season.
There we go. What's up with Baby Yoda? We'll have to find out in a couple days. Friday, we'll be back with Kind of Funny's Mandalorian in review. Until then, what's the word that you
I have
the
spoken.
Greedo?
Huh?
The Greedo word? Manchuka.
Slimo.
Bye.